Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is Thousand Eyes, and with me is Cityscape, as we are now getting into our second game, and we once again apologize for the technical difficulties. Tonight has been a little bit crazy, but we are now finally getting into game 2, and this time we'll be able to see draft as it happens. So... Everybody, I just did thumbs up and no one can see me because I'm a freaking loser. Oh my god, tonight. But
listen, well, we have come to it. Both of these teams had pretty interesting drafts last time. Hopefully, we'll have more interesting drafts here too. You know, when people get back from the bathroom and all of that.
Yeah.
What obviously, like, going with the side switches, the first thing you realize is first pick, and obviously the first pick, Morgana, was a core tactic from early stage capitalism. It did not really work. I don't think it was played very cleanly, and I think that the comp they played around it didn't seem very clean, had some flaws, and they didn't play around those flaws very well. So I expect they'll just ban it this time, and maybe that might be a blessing in disguise because they'll be able to play a bit of a different style and switch things up, which is probably the number one question going into this is, like, what do early stage capitalism do?
Right, and we'll really kind of just have to see, because the first game seemed like it just really had a solid idea, but the play style did not fit the composition that they drafted for. So definitely, hopefully, early stage capitalism will be able to kind of either remedy the fact that they didn't play to the composition, or just pick a composition that fits more with what they want to do.
I think one easy way to fix a lot of these issues, as amazing as Ornn is, and I actually like Ornn a lot, even in IBS, even in Gold. I think he's extremely strong. I don't think he's necessarily the right fit for this series. I want to see Evil. Is it Evil Gambit?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. It's Evil Gambit. Okay.
Hey, there we go.
Sorry. I want to see Evil Gambit on something where he can actually have real carry threat, real potential. I thought Potato was the obvious weak link from that last game. I don't think he played well individually. I felt like he got a little rattled, and obviously the ganks just spun him out of control. He had a really bad time. So if you can put your top laner on something that can counter that a bit more aggressively, and, you know, if there's an 0-4 Olaf top and you have, like, some random carry top laner, I'm a Kennen player, I'll say Kennen. If you can do that, you have a much better chance at snowballing that to win a game, rather than, like, yeah, guys, our Ornn has 3 kills. Hell yeah. Yeah. It's not going to do very much.
Doesn't help you take Baron.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't help you actually win the game. Giving a lead to a tank just means that tank loses less hard. Like, in that sort of matchup, which is very good, but it's only good if your carries are ahead. If your carries are behind, the 4-0 Maokai, it's not going to save you, especially not against that sort of a team where they have a lot of damage and they have a lot of tankiness, so Ornn's never going to kill anyone. Even though he did have the most team fight impact in a lot of those fights. But still, you can tell that wasn't enough.
Yeah, they were hoping that it would create enough space for him, but it really just didn't give enough. So really, really unfortunately there, did not work out.
Alright, we're going into bans now. I expect bans to be similar. The Morgana is the only thing that really seems like it'll be added. Maybe they might go for like a Nautilus ban instead. Nautilus was hugely impactful, but realistically, Thresh would do a lot of the same stuff. Pike would do similar.
Yeah, so let me get over to that. We do have the same bands coming through. Just really want to make sure that the pocket picks there are not going to get through. Don't want to deal with the Diana. Diana is just overall very powerful, but early stage capitalism has been utilizing it there, and immediately coming through is that Nautilus first pick, and I have to wonder if that Morgana is going to come back out, or what really are we going to see? And it's going to be the Olaf. Apparently Olaf is very popular between these two teams.
I mean, Olaf is popular in general. It's kind of an early game Fiesta heavy meta, especially obviously in amateur play. And Olaf is wonderful. He does a lot of damage early game. He wins almost every fight.
Speaking of early game, what is not early game is Tarek. Tarek coming through now as the support.
He can do some stuff early game. I definitely feel like he's a good pick into Nautilus. I mean,
yeah. Into the Nautilus, I definitely do like it. It's just usually when I see Tarek, I am a support player myself, and I usually play I play a lot of ranged supports. My highest mastery is Bard, so when I see a Tarek, I'm just like, yes, give me lots of early gold. I can just slap you a bunch for money.
Well, you can't really do that if you're playing Nautilus.
Yeah.
So definitely a positive. I mean, as expected, Kragg are running back the same team comp and basically saying, hey, if you guys can't beat me this time, if you guys can't beat me last time, I'm just going to say that you can't beat me this time. And early stage capitalism just say, yeah, okay, you can't run back the same exact.
No, none of that, Zach. Don't want to deal with that again. Yeah, and I think that's a good ban, because really that Zach is what snowballed that bottom lane. That is what got the Caitlyn and the Nautilus ahead. The early gank really proved detrimental to the whole of early stage capitalism in that bottom side.
And obviously, picking up the Olaf, the Tarek, the Veigar feels like they're also trying to at least make it harder for Kragg to engage on them, trying to limit the ways that Kragg can snowball the game. Obviously, having a good front line doesn't matter as much if you're going to be engaging, because then if you're engaging and you can't win the fight, you're still going to lose, even if you deny them they engage, because you're doing it yourself.
And interestingly enough, too, seeing the Sivir ban, I think that's a very good ban, because with Tarek, there is a lot of teamfight potential there. The speed boost allowing for easier stuns to come through, just popping both ults together really works well, just in synergy wise. But the Varus coming out instead, and now Tarek just looking more to just play a peel kind of style along with this Veigar, creating a lot of space for that hyper carry Varus to do damage throughout these team fights.
Definitely a much higher damage comp, which was the thing I mainly wanted to see, so that's great. I believe Jax was banned last game, wasn't it?
I think so. My brain says yes, but my brain is wrong. Yeah, nope, my brain was right this time. It was Jax. I still have the last still have the last one open here.
So that is one really interesting thing.
Garen.
In this draft, we actually see the top lane power shift in a little bit.
So
Jax is a great pick. Garen into Jax.
Garen into the Jax, and it is Olaf jungle here, as we generally see him in there. But now he is finally going to his home, the jungle, to beat on innocent little monsters that are sometimes cute.
Well, I think that's going to be great for Red Team. I think Red Team have the tools to make plays without feeling bad about it this time around. Whereas last time they could go for plays, and even if the plays were good, it wouldn't work because of how their team comp how their team comp functions. This time they have more tools to actually help them win those fights.
Oops, wrong one there. Apologies for that. I am just started. This is the first time I interacted with this interface 5 minutes ago. Cut me some slack.
I'm very intrigued about the Garen Jax matchup. I was a top laner. I don't play Jax, I don't play Garen, so I can't really comment on it too heavily. It feels like the type of matchup that Jax eventually snowballs in. But the interesting thing about that is you don't actually really want to go late game that much if you're Kragg. I mean, you can, but Caitlyn struggles in the mid game, and they're going to kind of... If you look at like the 4v4, their 4v4 is not very good in the mid game. And I think that early stage Capitalism's mid game is a lot better. So I think we're going to see a real dip if Kragg can't find gold leads early game. And hopefully early stage Capitalism's aggressive plays actually work out for them, because their team comp seems better suited to it now.
Yeah, so we will see how that goes. I'm really curious. I like this just Garen here, just to really kind of be aggressive and allow. So like it seemed like Gambit did really well on that top side, understood how to really pressure the advantage and when to start going for those 1v1s, because obviously that worked out really well. Early ganks helped, but then Gambit did take it from there and started doing things with it. So I'm really interested to see how Gambit's going to do that with a champion that really just wants to do that.
Exactly. It felt like early stage Capitalism did a good job at realizing what they did well in game 1 and play into that in game 2 here in the draft, at least. Garen Olaf is just a terrifying 2v2. I mean, you compare that to Jax Nunu, and you can tell that early stage Capitalism will have topside dominance pretty much through the entire early game.
Right. The other thing that I do really like too is, so a lot of junglers that you generally see right now have a lot of crowd control, and they kind of function as a mid fight tank to, you know, peel off for the carries, right? Veigar is able to do that himself. That is why this Olaf does work pretty well in this composition, because you have the Veigar to create that space with the E, with that with all that stun area that you have. It creates the same kind of space that you would get a lot of times from those tank junglers. So I really like that just combination that they have there.
And obviously there's no way to deal with the Veigar E. Swain's completely stuck in there. Jax can Q into it, but can't Q out of it. So if you get if you can cage the Jax, cage the Swain, and get out of it, you have a really effective tool there. The Taric ultimate is also great for that, kind of giving you that period of invulnerability. There's a lot of interesting tools here for early stage Capitalism.
It's all going to be down to how they want to really utilize it, and we finally get through and see the champion matchups once again fully onto each other. I think another thing too is just like it. So obviously the top side of the map is going to be very powerful for early stage Capitalism. I'm also just kind of interested in how that Olaf is going to utilize the rest of the map. Obviously, you could try and get this Veigar ahead. You know, Veigar can set up ganks really well, and Olaf has the ability to chase Swain down. Swain does not have any kind of dash or any way to escape, and if that axe hits, it's going to be either a flash down or just a death coming through.
Yeah, I mean, mid lane is a huge swing lane here, because you look at that and you can see Swain struggling to deal with ganks, but you can also see Veigar struggling to deal with ganks with the Nunu snowball into the Swain pull, and they have a lot of burst damage. If Veigar gets hit by that early CC, he's dead. So both sides for the mid lane have something to be scared of, have something to be worried about. And that kind of brings me into one thing I like to discuss is oftentimes, like when we discuss drafts, we're discussing them kind of in a vacuum. And we do
Right.
play in a gold league. We do play in a league where
we live in a society.
Gold players are still great. This isn't necessarily like, oh, gold players suck, you have to draft around that. It's just that the meta is different when you're playing with players who aren't as refined or aren't as mechanically savvy, etc. And I think it'd be interesting to take a look at these drafts from that perspective and see, obviously, early stage capitalism does have a lot of tools, but those tools can be pretty hard to use.
Right. And also, just that goes for just solo queue in general too. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even just you're gold, you're not gonna do things well. It's also just kind of the solo queue non professional environments, how players are going to interact and work together and how they're going to understand their champions is just fundamentally different compared to a professional player. So it's not even really as much a knock on gold players as much as saying like, well, y'all are not pro, and that's
exactly
nobody's expecting you to be pro.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's not a knock on the players or anything. It's just different elo ranges have different metas. Obviously, especially when you're in a situation like this where these teams have had some roster shakeups. I think pretty minor ones. I'm not super familiar with the league. I'm not going to try and flex my knowledge there. It's a new season.
Do it anyway.
It's a new it's a new season. It's a new ZGG season. This is all very new. So sometimes the simpler execution comps can succeed, like we saw last time. And I do think that Kragg pretty much have what they want from that perspective. I think if you're Kragg, you're totally happy with this, and you're kind of just betting that early stage capitalism won't do enough to beat you, with you just going for this brute force sort of style.
Right. As we are finally getting into the last seconds before we start loading in, I'm gonna give a warning just this time, because I literally am throwing this all together and trying to have this overlay work. Bear with us. If there's wrong information, let us know. We will do our best to try and fix it as we can, and we will see you guys just on the other side of the intermission here. And welcome back, everybody, as that was a very fast load in here. And hang on, as I do have the incorrect score. Apologies. I will fix that in just a moment. A lot of things happening at once.
We're actually seeing Kragg go for this 4-man stack strategy here that Vagar is gonna walk right into.
You hate to see it.
Man.
You hate to see it. Oh no.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
I'm sure he'll be back. Obviously, that's such a frustrating strategy to get hit by, because there's really no reason for Kragg to invade like that. And they didn't even have Nunu. I'm not sure why the Nunu went back there, but it worked. Viger was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He instantly dies. Maybe could have flashed earlier, tried to do something. I think holding on to the flash is probably fine, but Jax gets the first blood, and that's brutal for this top lane.
As we do have the correct score this time. Oh, tonight has been a night. It has existed in this plane of existence, and I am ready to keep going. I swear.
Well, unfortunately, these teams do not appear as ready as you are. So
Apparently, Vigard was not ready.
On a bit of a pause here.
Yeah.
Obviously, that changes the top lane dynamic a little bit. It's going to be harder for Garen to get an item lead. But as I was talking about last game, I do think that experience is hugely impactful, and I do think obviously CS is really impactful. So even though he's a bit ahead in gold, I don't think that's a game changer. It's just gonna be a bit harder.
Yeah, as we are going to see a little bit of chat, and I'm going to take that away, because sometimes chat is not nice. Sometimes people say mean things in chat, and if you see mean things in chat, tell them that they're not nice, and that they should really think about what they're doing with their lives.
Hey, man. You've been playing much solo queue lately?
I did mention that, the last game that I played was I didn't do well. I'll leave it at that. There were double-digit deaths, and I was told that I'm inting, and it was not a good time. Did not have fun with that.
That's how the world works sometimes. Sometimes you're getting inted, sometimes you're inted.
That's just profound. Is that Gandhi? Is that Gandhi?
Yeah, I think that's a Martin Luther
I don't remember.
King
Don't remember Gandhi talking about inting, but as we do see, I do want to point out one little interesting thing. It makes sense, but it's interesting. Nunu not taking any refillable potion, just grabbing the Hunter's Talisman and just going to sit on that and rely on the consume heal to really just get things going and keep himself healthy. Very, very healthy jungler, so not really a problem, but it does allow 150 gold to then go towards just finishing other items there.
Listen, this is when Nunu's gonna find a way to die to a jungle camp and make that part of analysis.
Just don't make me wrong, Reckless. Show us.
No, I hope.
Show us the way.
Reckless, actually, I've been relatively impressed with both jugglers. I felt like both of them have had a pretty good sense of tempo and how to influence the map. Obviously, jungle is a bit of a weird role after the early game. Nowadays, but I think both of these are strong early game junglers, and seeing Swaggy P on something like Olaf could actually work very well. I mean, I mentioned it. I mentioned it way back. When you see a name like Swaggy P, you have to assume it's gonna be an Olaf.
That's an early game get in your face kind of jungler. That's the kind of stuff we want to see. If you can't have a name like Swaggy P and then play something like Sejuani or Ivern or well, no, I feel like Ivern could work. Ivern's kind of got a swaggy walk.
Yeah, Ivern. I mean,
Ivern just kind of like limbers his way in, just like, hey, what's up, guys? Gonna shield my laner and head on out. Got other places to Dr. Seuss it up in.
Well, we are back into the game. And Nunu just went back to base and got her refillable, so...
Sometimes I make some interesting commentary, and then players are like, wait, I heard that thing. Time to make them wrong.
I actually find it really cool that Caitlyn put down that ward as she was going back to lane. I don't really know if it would have done anything if Red Team was actually in that bush. Maybe they just go and kill them anyway, but... It's good to see players thinking of that sort of situation. I think a lot of the times you look at the play that you're making and not the reaction to that play. Like, it's common with invades that the enemy team will go and stack another bush, like in your jungle, or try and steal a buff. So it's cool.
Yeah, and Leasha's coming through there. Is a not they are not sure where the Nunu started. Both lanes did wait to show. If anything, they're going to probably think Nunu started bot lane because the bot lane showed up late. But opposite mirrored starts here as both junglers starting on their blue buff and then moving on forwards there. Jax saying no to that silence. Gonna counter-strike it away. And now we are fully into our laning phase.
I do want to mention that one thing that you don't see discussed much in pro play. Oh, as we see the hook coming out.
Yeah, hook coming through Taric. Ooh. That's the power of the Taric there into that lane matchup. You get hooked and you just push E and they're gonna get stunned too.
If that was a Morgana, that could have been a very dangerous situation. Could have been an early bot lane lead. But what I was going to say is in pro play, everyone CS is perfect all the time. There's more ganks. I can't talk.
More ganks as Garen gonna be going down there after having a little bit of trouble moving. I don't know if it showed on you, but for me, Garen just kind of locked in place and was floating towards the tower. But a great early gank there. Nunu coming through with the snowball and getting that early pressure to get that Jax. Jax is now 2-0 early on.
And with no flash and Nunu still in topside, this could just be a repeat gank. Although, to be fair, the lane's in a good state, so Garen should be okay here.
Yeah, so now I have to imagine, actually, that Swaggy wants to go up here or not Swaggy, Reckless wants to go back up here and pressure that, but the lane is just going to shove in and should be pretty safe there. If anything, maybe Swaggy will try and go for this gank, but he has to be careful because there is a Nunu ready.
I mean, honestly, this wave is in a great spot, but Swaggy is
not in a great spot for Swaggy, though. Swaggy's going to get caught out, has to blow the flash, but it doesn't matter because the leap comes through, and that is now a third kill over to Jax in 4 minutes.
It's so unlucky because you see the situation that Garen's in. Yes, the level 1 goes bad. Yes, you die to the gank. Yes, you have to burn TP. You're still up 10 CS. The wave's at your tower. You're perfectly fine in this lane. You're in a completely fine spot. Instead, the jungler gets a little bit too aggressive, doesn't respect the Nunu being there, and now it's just further behind, and he's getting beaten down by this red buff Jax. He doesn't have TP, and you just see that initial glimmer of hope that maybe it was a tactical int, and it would totally be fine, and now it's just a regular int, and it's just not looking very good.
You hate to see the tactical int go to a regular int. It's...
yeah.
Not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I do generally feel as though sometimes people read a little too much into like the early game solo deaths by solo lanes. Like, it's pretty easy to stabilize, and then it's like,
right.
Yeah, you're down 10, 15 CS worth of gold, but when it's a Jax and he's 3-0 with a Tiamat at 5 minutes, it's gonna be really hard for this Garen to get into the game.
Yeah. So right now, though, what is the goal here for early stage capitalism? Because the Garen is behind, doing pretty well in CS though, all things considered. But Garen is behind. Olaf has been farming up. Ooh, here comes the Swain gank. Gonna be locked in the cage, but he says, "You're not stuck in here with me." Oh, wait, no, I'm dead.
And I was about to say, but that's exactly what they need to do. They need their lanes, as Taric gets trapped. They need their lanes to get level 6 and get these kills. Because the really bad part is that bot and mid are down like... Bot is only down around 10 CS. They came back a little bit, but mid's still down like 12, 15 CS. Mm-hmm. Which is not what you want to see from a lane that's been left alone without jungle pressure in what I would call not a matchup you should be down 15, 22 CS in.
Right.
But you get that kill that inches you back. Now they're roughly tied in gold. Maybe you can come back.
Oh, the bait comes through though. The Taric coming through, the flash stun, double stun coming through. Pinky Pwned getting caught out here, but the Nunu is here to counter. Is he going to bait into it? The snowball knocks up the Olaf, going to be enough to allow Pinky Pwned out, and he's just going to back off. They're going to clear that ward and go back to where they were, and in all honesty, both summoners blown for Taric to just get the heal and the flash off of Nautilus. About an even trade.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where you have to think that bot lane not backing really helped blue team because there just wasn't that much damage to follow up on the stun. Still a good play. Still definitely something you do again if you're Kragg. You want those opportunities. Hopefully eases the pressure a little bit. But obviously you get a little bit sad that you didn't get more because it was a really nice play.
Yeah. And I'm honestly a little bit concerned because, like, while we have seen the one kill in the mid lane there, we haven't seen a whole lot from Swaggy P just yet. And now the level 6 mark will come through and definitely help. Will allow the opportunity to maybe get those bot lane ganks going because it's really hard to gank as Olaf into that Nautilus there. But really, when I think Olaf, I think early game pressure, early game gank pressure, and the ability to duel people, and we haven't really seen a whole lot from Swaggy P just yet.
That's kind of the snowball effect of League of Legends sometimes, because you look at that level 1 invade, given Shaxx the lawn sword, you look at that early game top lane gank, and then Olaf goes top lane and it just doesn't work, and now Olaf is, as you're saying, behind on tempo, at least relative to where you want to be on Olaf. And I really think a lot of it traces back to that series of unfortunate events in top lane. And now Nunu's picking up the first Drake. And while early stage Capitalism are still 100% in this game, I don't think they're even that far behind. Things can turn very quickly. You have to think that Kragg is super happy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, like, especially considering how we thought that lane was going to go, we saw the Garen and the Olaf and thought, like, well, Jax is going to have a bad time. And really, Jax was having the best time of his life here, getting that early game lead, able to just transition that into what he's got right now. Has so much of an opportunity to really kind of just take over this game by just beating up on this Garen over and over again. This is the Jax dream.
Yeah, of course. And I think the real tragedy, if you're Evil Gambit, is that it wasn't even really his fault. I think
guys, it wasn't me. This is one of those games where you're like, you're getting pinged as the top laner, yeah, and like fucking.
Oh man!
Oh my goodness!
Brutal mid lane game.
Yeah, brutal gank from the Nunu, as the cage is not enough to stop the Nunu snowball from getting in there.
I mentioned it early game. I feel as though, this top lane.
Gambit, that's not a fight you want, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Gambit's just like, hey, I'm Garen, I'm level 8. Hypothetically, if the gold
this is
even,
where I go in.
This. But nope, no, you don't win that. No, you don't.
No,
Jax
not when you're down like 1,500 gold.
Yeah. And I was talking early game about the mid lane matchup. And I felt as though last game we saw a little bit where Gummy Uwu on the Ziggs that game actually fell quite a bit behind in farm against Swain in what should be a farm matchup. And this game he's having an even worse time because the matchup's a little bit harder to punish, and we're actually seeing the mid lane gank coming in and pushing that lead. And now we're seeing the Rift Herald top, and Kragg is just not the performance that you want to get hit by. Yeah. Like, Kragg is punishing the mistakes that...
It's really well done from a macro perspective. They understand that this Jax is the win condition right now. Just pump everything into him and allow him to just take over that lane. He can just split push to impunity at this point.
I think one of the issues I face in game when you're ahead with this lead,
hang on, Olaf getting
caught.
Yeah, Olaf taking a lot of damage there. Pops the ult, might just die here from popping the ult. Actually, may have actually gotten himself killed.
Strange because there was the There's the plant there too, and now we just see Varus getting caught.
Varus caught, yeah. Terracult coming through, but it's going to be too little too late. Vygar putting the cage down just to run away afterwards there. And now KRG now just really absolutely in control in multiple lanes here as that bot lane just starts going real south for them. Vygar here to clean up the CS, but cage coming through to stop any kind of dive potential.
I mean, now the most difficult part of this game, if you're Kragg, is choosing which lane to snowball.
Yeah.
Because they're all really far ahead. Mid lane's ahead. It's only about 700 gold. The kill really did help Vygar stay in the game. But still.
But now you have plates coming through, the experience differential.
You have like 1,400 bot lane. You have 2,000 top lane. These are really huge gold leads, and they're not... League of Legends is not a game where you can come back just by playing better than the other team. Like, if you're in basketball and you make all of your shots and the enemy team misses all of their shots, you can come back from these huge deficits. We see it a lot nowadays in the NBA. League of Legends is not that game. It gets exponentially more difficult to play the further you are behind, and what we're seeing here is that the mistakes early stage Capitalism are making make the game continuously harder to play. And now you're seeing like Olaf's just getting ran out of his own jungle. Like, he can't even contest Dragon. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah. And really what we're seeing is just early stage Capitalism giving an early stage Capitalism over to KRG as they're just getting tons of money, just saying like we are the dominant business in here, and we want to just get a monopoly.
I mean, capitalism is all about the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
Exactly. The rich are getting richer.
So unfortunately for early stage capitalism, they're on the wrong side of that coin.
Yeah.
You ever seen a fight though?
Oh, but here comes Varus getting caught out. The Nautilus ult gonna get him stuck there. Olaf, way too low health to even do anything, just popped immediately in these fights. Storm Razor slow, getting on the Vygar, getting some damage down in response, but gonna have to be running away. And meanwhile, Nunu just says, you guys take care of that. I'm gonna eat this dragon a little bit.
I will say that I actually thought that was a potential win for early stage capitalism at first. I thought that they got a pick that could have worked out, but as we were talking about, their team comp is pretty hard to use. They're going to try and do something top lane. It's not going to do anything unless Jax dies somehow. Their team comp's tools are relatively difficult to use compared to blue team, which is just, I'm going to run you down, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they mismanaged their tools pretty severely there. And now, Kragg see that there's 4 top lane, and this Varus is gonna have a
Zoro. Yep, and that's free money. Free money coming through there, and first tower going down. Ironically, in the bot lane, where we thought the top lane was going to be where that happened.
Yeah.
But now... Cage coming through, Sanguine gonna maybe pop the ult? No? Oh, did not have it actually. Was confused there, but a good shutdown now going over to the Vygar, and that's good.
Cage. The Vygar Cage has really been the MVP for this Vygar because he's missed his Q twice on targets who are in the cage.
Don't call him out like that.
It happens. Obviously, he's not a terrible player, nothing. But it's those sorts of unfortunate misplays that have really been the story of this game, really this series. In those situations, the Cage made it so that way they still get the kill, it still works out fine, but it's emblematic of what we're seeing over the course of this game, which is just that early stage capitalism, not as clean. Mm-hmm. Not really as confident.
Not utilizing their abilities to the best that they possibly could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Kragg is doing an extremely impressive job of that. I mean, if we talk about, like, a lot of people will put on the stereotype of, oh, this is Gold League, these players are bad. But Kragg is actually playing very well. They're playing well individually, they're playing well as a team. I mean, I played in Plat League like 3 seasons. This team would have fit in pretty easily, I imagine. So this is a very impressive performance. Oh, we see the Tarek
not sure where that was going
in the air just to.
I think he got scared of his own jungler there for a second. I think he saw the Olaf and freaked out.
Reckless has been everywhere. Apparently, he was even under the enemy turret.
He somehow picked a different champion and started infiltrating our ranks.
I mean, there has been a lot of bot lane ganks. I cannot fault him for being a bit paranoid at this point. Like, he turns around, he sees Nunu everywhere. He saw the
sees him in the trees
tree there, and he thought it was Zach.
Yeah, but as of right now, actually, I can see a world where early stage capitalism can really kind of start making some kind of a comeback, mainly because of how influential this. Well, there goes bot lane. Ooh, good heal. What a heal to keep the Swain alive there.
That's a situation where I will say, if the Varus was super big brain, he would have flashed into the queue to get that extra range to get the kill. That's not a play you can expect at this level, but that is the type of play that you start seeing more at higher levels. Mm-hmm. That was a situation where great setup, great stun by Tarek. I actually think Tarek has played very well this game.
Absolutely, yes.
The follow-up wasn't as clean as it needs to be. The Veigar needed to be in range to get the stun of the E. Didn't quite do that.
Just got him caught in the middle.
Barely lived. And it's unfortunate because those are, I mean, you were talking about the comeback mechanisms. Those are the plays you need to capitalize on if you want to come back.
I think, ooh, man, just barely not getting that. Ooh, here comes Sanguine getting caught there, getting stunned, pops the ult, but it is, ooh, wow, does kill the Olaf, and the Tarek ult does not come off quick enough. That one is a depressing one there.
Yeah.
Mismanaging the amount of damage I think that Swain was going to put out. Does have the Rod of Ages.
I believe that Tarek did have exhaust too, so he could have maybe coordinated that a bit better.
Oh,
and now we're seeing
stun coming through there. Great stun from the Tarek there to keep Varus alive. Barely getting out there. And really, I think the comeback mechanics here are just going to be the Tarek stuns and ult, as well as the Veigar stun. If you can utilize those, I really feel that those abilities are so game-changing that you can come back from a very large deficit.
The issue that we're seeing is, like, when early stage capitalism makes a nice play, Kragg are getting out with like 20 HP, or you know, it's a nice play that just means that Varus doesn't die. Like, we're celebrating that Varus didn't die.
Yes.
That's a good play. It was worth celebrating, but the win there isn't significant. When Kragg makes a good play, they're generating ungodly leads off.
They're making money. They're getting income.
We're really seeing that be the difference between these two teams. When Kragg makes a good play, they're crushing it. When early stage capitalism make a good play, it doesn't feel as impactful.
It's to stifle a gold lead from Kragg. Mm-hmm. And really, it's when is early stage capitalism going to make a play that is going to gain them things? When are they going to get themselves off the ground? Because one of the buzzwords that a lot of people use is like tempo, but really that's what we're seeing here is just like the wins and the plays are coming through from both sides, but because of the tempo, it is one side gaining things from them, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And I really like talking about agency as an individual player, basically your ability to influence the game. And the issue here is that realistically, there's almost no agency.
Gambit.
Early stage capitalism.
Gambit getting caught out there.
He's a Garen.
Barely.
That was a really cool cage.
That was very good
that's
cage.
A situation where I feel like, I mean, if he flashed over, he probably could have 100-0'd Caitlyn. that's a really weird play to make. Like, it's a weird play, but
it's
those
weird,
are the
and if you're not
kinds of
confident,
aggressive plays that you make if you have more champion experience, more confidence.
see, oh, Tarek getting caught out here. The ult's coming through, flashes out to stay alive, and the Nautilus goes down. Reckless popping the ult to get the shield to stay alive, but it's not enough. He goes down as well, and Swain trying to carry this fight there. Gummy Uwu forcing Caitlyn back, getting the damage down and having to flash out. Ace in the hole gonna come through, not gonna be enough to get the kill, but overall 2 for nothing here, as they are going to lose this tower. Coming through, Sanguine taking the damage, Potato using the counter strike to stay alive there, and honestly not a bad trait there.
Yeah, a couple of weird things there. One, I felt like Kragg made a mistake. Obviously, any good situation for early stage capitalism at this point has to start with Kragg making a mistake.
Right.
That's just how it has to go. Unfortunately, they're down like 8k gold. It's the reality of the situation. They went in on Tarek, the last person you want to go in on. He's been playing great. He flashes out. He gets the ult off. He still has his fight impact. Great stun. And then you see the Vygar cage. You see the abilities layered actually meaningfully. And you saw a couple kills come out. Mm-hmm. So that's the type of situation that, one, early stage capitalism need to actively generate, but 2, they need to take advantage of it. Like, that play should have been bigger, but they kind of split up a little on the back end. Vygar ult went on to Caitlyn when the rest of the team was on Swain. It's tough. The margins of error are very slim, but that could have been a real swing in this game, at least towards it.
Coming through. Nautilus ult coming through onto Zoro, but gonna be getting around on that wall there to make sure that he keeps himself safe. And that is Nautilus ult down then for really nothing.
I will say that they're doing a reasonable job of
heal burned.
Playing safely, not dying. I mean, only 10 deaths is pretty reasonable. Some of those, especially because so many of those deaths were early game. I will say that the one thing that plagued them last game was objective control. They just couldn't stop contesting objectives. And with Baron up, with Cloud Soul about to come up, it's going to be tough for them to be like, okay, no, we can't contest this. Let's not go for this. If it's like last game, they will go for this contest. They will lose the team fight, and the game will be over. If they've learned, then maybe they'll actually swing the objectives, go for Baron while they're on Cloud Soul. I don't think they can actually do that, to be honest. But
I don't believe they have the damage. There are pings coming through though. That does seem to be on the table, but it might just be too late at this point. I don't think that they can do it.
They aren't actively dying. So obviously you don't like Cloud Soul going over. And people look at that and they go, well, okay, Cloud Soul, that's really bad. We need to stop that. How do we stop that? We fight them. But if you fight them, you just lose. And then they get Cloud Soul and Baron. They might even get Baron here.
Yeah, anyway. It looks
pretty likely.
Seems like
you can't really contest it.
It seems like they've taken the mistakes from last game to heart, but how much of it actually is going to be helpful for them? As Baron coming through, they're thinking about stealing it. Terracolt's coming through, but that is a Nunu, and you are not going to steal that away. Swaggy P getting caught in the pit there. I don't know if he's going to get out. He is going to get out. Here comes the Swain. Just bye.
That's one of the weirder 0-for-0 fights I think I've seen. Oh,
great cage.
That Vygar cage is really big. Yeah, Vygar cage has been the MVP of this game. Even despite the Vygar misplaying a little bit, and I feel like Twin Shadows here was not the right person.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, that's usually something you see with the Glacial Augment build, which is good then because you're getting a lot more value out of it. But with Phase Rush on the Vygar, I really feel like Twin Shadow's not a great purchase here.
it kind of just feels maybe like a bit of nerves, maybe a bit of being rattled, not fully thinking it through, maybe champion experience, all of these like intangible things we can't quite know. Like the point of this is Kragg are extremely comfortable, and I don't believe that red team has been as comfortable overall this game. They're starting to find it a little bit now, but still you can see it in certain areas. The goal for them now, obviously, Dream, you don't lose an inhib, and then you fight for Elder, because Elder is that you lose the game objective.
Yeah.
So they're at least on pace to try and do that.
Good stun. Nice damage coming through. They're going to be going on the Swain there. That is the Swain with the ult. Going to be soaking up a lot of damage, and they are just not able to take him down. He's too beefy, too damage heavy. Stun coming through there, but Gummy cannot do enough damage there. Not enough coming through. A great root there from the Swain there, and now here comes the Snowball getting the Taric, the only one left there, as Garen just runs back to his base and wondering where his team went. And that is going to be the base cracked, and that may just be the game there.
Again, I have to question the Vigar in that team fight. He keeps saving his ultimate for the Caitlyn over the Swain. It felt like if he had just taken the catch on Swain and ulted him, that fight could have potentially gone better. But again, you can see the difference in levels of comfort. You can see the difference, I feel, in champion expertise, team comp, comfortability, all of those intangible things, as well as I felt like mid lane, there was an individual difference there mechanically, especially in the early game farm. I felt like Reckless out-jungled Swaggy P pretty hard that game. Swaggy P had a much better first game. The bot lane was a problem. Admittedly, I feel like bot lane that game was actually going quite well, but then the new ganks start coming in, and it gets really hard. And it's a lot of these small mistakes that we see snowball into these colossal stomps. It wasn't typically you picture a stomp as just being like a bunch of solo kills and mechanical outplays, and this was macro. Wasn't really that.
This is a lot more macro, just control of the map.
It was kind of this macro-based stomp, and also just really, I think the comfort was hugely apparent. Yeah. And you can see that in how Kragg effectively played the same comp twice, knew exactly how to execute it. Hopefully the next team they play against challenges them a little more. Maybe get off the Swain, get off the Nautilus, take them off of these comfort picks, see what else they can do. I did feel like we saw a reasonable attempt to do that in this draft, but the execution was off. They didn't feel fully prepared to do that. And maybe then this is something to watch for next week, is can the next team stop Kragg's brutal, like, what's the word for it, just completely steamrolling the enemy team, bulldozer team comp. Can it be stopped?
Yeah. I really think, like, just looking at how that Swain was played, it definitely seemed like somebody who was a lot more comfortable, because how many times did we see Swain get out with just a little bit of health? How many times did we see Swain go in and burst people and understand how much damage he could take in during that ultimate? It was a lot of really smart play going through.
And it felt like Kragg were consistently executing the easy plays. When you play at a gold level, at a plat level, the enemy players will give you opportunities to make plays. It's not going to be that hard to find opportunities. When you get to pro play, like, you really have to try hard to, like, force someone into a mistake.
Yeah.
At gold plat, it's more about how can you punish the enemy team's mistakes. The mistakes Kragg made were barely punished. The mistakes that early stage Capitalism made got absolutely beat into oblivion.
Right.
And that's the sign of a really great gold team, I think, is how hard do you how consistently do you punish those mistakes? And I think Kragg really did that.
Yeah. But with that, that is going to be it from us tonight. The 2-0 coming through for KRG for the first win of the season. Thank you guys for watching. I am Thousand Eyes. This has been this is Cityscape with me, and thank you for watching Zero Gravity Gaming. Until next time.